We are live. Welcome back to LOI TV, Cautiously Optimistic, the LOI TV live show every Monday, 8 o'clock. And we are back, ready to go. We've been prepared for the last few minutes, so it wasn't a last minute job. How are y'all keeping us?
Great.
Pretty good. Once again, about to feel a whole lot worse in 90 minutes.
Just Ty, we can see from your jersey again. From the second time in 3 weeks, you've been doing a palace watch along for us.
I've no interest in this live stream. I'm just here to make up the numbers. That's all I am.
like Ireland in the World Cup group stage. How are you keeping? Socko, Griff?
Fresh shot for Socko, I noticed.
I was about to say that.
We're in a lockdown, huh? What's the story?
Where are you going?
Kieran didn't do a bad job.
Your local barber.
We did
Very short, though. Very short.
Inside your 5K, is he?
Just about. What do you think?
It's all right, isn't it? It's a decent job. Dodgy you fade now.
I knew you were starting that cooking business. I didn't know you were starting a butcher's as well.
Give Soul Kitchen a shout out on Instagram.
Yeah, follow Soul Kitchen.
That's probably 1 minute in. That's the best joke we're gonna get the next hour.
Yeah.
Might as well just call it.
No one's gonna get a browse.
If you did enjoy that joke and want to see more, make sure to hit the subscribe button and do like the stream as well. We're going to set the goal at 50 likes as always.
50 likes.
Last week we actually didn't hit the target. We were on 46 as we speak.
We hit the week I was here. I wasn't here last week.
We'll put it down to poor internet connection. That's what we'll put down.
Much like Ireland last year, we just struggled to hit the target.
Jesus
we call it there, or?
Yeah, dog pull.
I wouldn't blame if you hit the dislike button after that, but you may as well jump straight in head first. Decent bit to get through this week. So I suppose we'll start off with the man himself, JD, the man, the myth, the legend, John O'Delaney. What do you reckon? The breaking news was that he wants reporting restrictions on his high court hearings. Claims the emails that he has are legally privileged. There's over 250,000 emails that were seized last February as part of a criminal investigation. God only knows what they really consist of. What do you reckon?
I mean, I think we said it before. If it was any other country and any other business, the guy would be doing 100 years in prison. He's a crook. He's a crook. Yeah.
He's a phony.
I mean, there's not much else to say about it anymore. I'm just sick of it. I mean, the fact that he's not even in the country, just waltzing around. He's in England. He lives in England now, doesn't he?
Socko saw him on the train. Was it?
No, in Stamford Bridge. Paul. I think it was actually this week last year. We were having a beer before the game. Chelsea were playing United, and he's a United fan apparently. I thought he'd be in the pop seats, like me and Paul.
Does he not support the League of Ireland teams now?
We should be following our own sides.
I think I told this before, but it was so funny. We both had a few on us at this stage, and Paul was like, "Is that surely not? Couldn't be. Is that John Delaney?" And you can't mistake him. I had the program up here, and we just fuck it. That one there. We're both like this. We just go, John. He didn't hear us. Paul just screams, John. It's
like the in-betweeners.
That says as much. That says a lot about him. To not have any shame, to still be going to Premier League matches. Fuck the guy. Yeah.
He started a new business. I don't even know what it does, but
has he? Yeah.
He should be behind bars. I'm pretty sure he's running a business over London.
Where do you think the story will end? How do you think it's going to end with that?
Hopefully we'll end in prison. Yeah. I don't think we'll get in prison, to be honest with you, though, because Ireland's so relaxed. Even when
the way we are over here,
with the banking crisis in 2011 or whatever, and those lives that they put away. For in America, you see shit those financial penalties over 100 years. And Ireland, it's just not the same. Oh, just John. I mean, the guy has no shame. Like, I mean, the first chapter of Champagne Football, you've already, I think. But like, the guy's having like a James Bond themed birthday party and on. Like, oh man, the guy is just a tosser. Like, I would love to see those emails. Like, because I say some of the stuff like we've only heard about the stuff that like has been revealed like to the public. So I'd say those emails definitely contain a lot more. Because if he wants them, like, if he wants them sealed, there has to be some more other stuff. Like. So,
the mind boggles.
Yeah,
the mind absolutely boggles. Hope John Delaney goes to prison and drops us up in the showers.
That's quality.
Your Monday night start right here on LOI TV. As I said.
France love hate. Like.
If he's charging anything, he'll just move to Dubai like every other Irish gangster.
Yeah, he seems like the type. Like he would just piss off somewhere, Panama or something.
With that blonde bombshell.
No, they're not together anymore.
I know they're not together.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'd recommend anyone to read Champagne Football if they haven't already. Like Mark Tighe, Paul Bowen. But like, yeah, just some of the shit in it is just outrageous. Like proper page Turner. Yeah, like you're not going to believe some of the shit that's in it and how he got away for like 15 odd years. Yeah, hopefully I'm seeing in the Irish Times there, I think 2 weeks ago, it said 280,000 emails were seized last February and the trial has been adjourned on several occasions. I think they've hired a few more people to inspect the files because I think basically Delaney's trying to prolong this as long as possible, and it said it hasn't been concluded due to the volume of emails and the COVID-19 pandemic. So, yeah, it kind of seems like it'll be dragged out for a while.
Yeah. No end in sight for now, but hopefully the conclusion is positive, I suppose, and he is behind bars, because it's the only place for him, realistically. But yeah, I suppose we'll move on to maybe not a happier topic, but a little bit more upbeat, maybe. The Irish players form at the weekend. Might start off with Conor Hourihane, who has been a real revelation since moving to Swans. We've kind of touched on him before in previous live shows about how this move has been really good for him, and I think it's 4 goals in 5 games now. The question I'm going to pose to you is he being restricted? Because we constantly say on the channel that Conor Hourihane, he hasn't been delivering for Ireland. Is he being restricted in this Ireland side by playing in kind of a deeper role? Should he have a go maybe the number 10 position, do you think?
I think if we had anyone else that was better at it, like he's proven now that he can play there. Like whenever we watch him, he's kind of like a sideways pass merchant, like one of those kind of players, which can be helpful. Like someone's just going to slow it down, especially in those tough games. But if you haven't got someone up there to have that spark, like there's no point, is there? Like he's passing the ball sideways and you give it into Hendrick and he just gives it away. Like.
Yeah. No, I do think it's the system we play as well, Ireland. Like, you know, traditionally we'd be playing quite a defensive system, and even when Kenny came in, even though like a bit more attacking, a bit more passing, you see Horan kind of been playing in a more deeper role. So I think that's good. Obviously, 4 goals in 5 games, whatever. And the free kick he scored on the weekend was cracker. Quality. Absolute cracker. Like, so he has got quality about him. Like, there's no doubt about that. Like, and you know, based on our other midfielders, I do think like he's walking into the side now based on current form. Like, which is good to see. But I mean, you want to see him come back after this season and potentially give it another crack in the Premier League with a team. Like, you hope you get back into the Aston Villa team. If not, you could maybe see him going to another team in the Premier League. But he's doing a very good job.
Or something like he moves up with them.
Exactly. It's a big benefit for him. Like, so. I just want him to do well, really. But yeah, it would be good to see him. Like, I think we need a kind of player in that number 10 role. We don't have, like, the last few games we've played, there's been devoid of creativity. Like, so we need all the help we can get, really.
Yeah, I kind of looked into it a little bit now today. Just they're kind of looking at why he's playing so much better for Swansea than he is for Ireland and stuff like that. And it's kind of Stephen Kenny, since he's come in, has kind of asked him to like play that role where it's kind of like a deep lying playmaker kind of position, where like sometimes you'd see him and like he's kind of literally in between centre backs on the ball, like he's like dropping that deep to get on the ball. And I suppose like it's trying to bail from the back and play it forward into players, but we've been so blunt in the final third. I find for the whole of last year we were so bad in the final third. We just were, as Chris said, kind of devoid of ideas. For Swansea, I kind of use them as a kind of a case study, looking at the way they set their team up, and he's playing in like that number 10 position, where they kind of play a 3-5-2, so it's 3 centre backs, and then their right centre back is like Kyle Naughton, who's, I'm not sure if you know him, but he's like naturally a right back. So it's like that's like Seamus Coleman basically playing there, like obviously 2 wing backs, so you'd have Doherty and Stevens. And there's like 2 holding midfielders behind Horahan, who's in the 10, and Horahan obviously in the 10, a lot more freedom to get forward and get into like positions. Like, and then the 2 strikers are Jamal Lowe and Andre Ayew, who are kind of not traditional strikers, but they move around a lot. They're quite moving around the front line a lot. Whereas I think we have Callum Robinson and Aaron Connolly, who are kind of not out and out strikers, but they can play there and they can kind of move along the front line, which would make a lot of space for Conor Horan to either have a shot at goal himself or to find them with passes. So I was thinking that Swansea like case study of them, the way they line up is actually like for Ireland, it could work really, really well. Probably the only negative for Ireland is the 2 holding midfielders position. As Ty was saying, we don't really have that many good players, maybe James McCarthy, but apart from that, we don't have like an out-and-out holding midfielder. I don't think. Maybe Jason Knight, maybe Malumbi could do a job there, but they're also like to get further forward as well. So yeah, I think the Horan situation is a case of if you can get him high up the pitch, it is a huge plus, but it's just a case of is Stephen Kenny going to take the chance and do that? If you look at Horan's current form, he's probably the most informed Irish player at the moment. I think it would just be so tactically naive of Kenny to just ignore that completely. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think we said it from the start. Like when he first came in, we all kind of wanted to see it to 5 at the back, but he's always stuck to his formation, his tactics. But I think that's kind of, I don't know if that's like naivety on international management. You can't sign your own players. I've always said it. Like you can't choose your team as such. Like you have to play to the strengths that you have, which I feel like we're not doing. Like we've got players that are playing in the back 5 week in, week out, like and a player like Howard now is playing in a system like that, and even Connolly plays. I think Brighton play 5 at the back sometimes, or three centre halves. Like so, Connolly's kind of used to it and stuff like that. I don't get why we haven't tried it. Like I mean, some of those what's it called, the Nations League games were write-offs. Like we should have at least changed it up and given it a go. But he's stuck with it, so I can't see him changing it. I don't think, especially for such a big game to start us off. Like.
Yeah, to think back, it's madness to be dropping Seamus Coleman with the quality that's in our team. Like, it's bananas. Like, you have to try and fit them both in, and that would have been perfect. I think to at least try and give it a go. Like, I think it was a shame not to see it. Speaking of Seamus Coleman, he had a great weekend. He captained his Everton side to their first win in the Merseyside derby since 2010, but their first win at Anfield in 22 years. For you, does the Coleman Doherty debate still exist?
No, if we're playing with back 4, there's no chance.
Yeah,
he has to start
back 4.
Yeah, he hasn't like Doherty hasn't even been getting a game. Like, and I mean, we all know how good Coleman was. Like, and I mean, without that leg break, like, who knows what height he could have got to. Like, but he's one of the best right backs in the league at the minute. Like, and he's a leader. Like, like Ancelotti's talks so highly of him, and like all his teammates love him. I think like he kind of has to start now.
Definitely.
Yeah. He's always been up there as well. He's always been quality. I think he's been a bit dodgy sometimes this season, but like even Ancelotti saying like the amount of praise he came out and said about him, like he's been our most consistent form for years. Really, like he's just always been really, really good for us. Like he's a leader. I just don't think like Doherty in that back 4 for Spurs, he's done poorly. He's not really regained the form that he had at Wolves because I think the Wolves system suited him down to the ground. Like he's more of an attacking fullback. He's not good in the back 4. So I would like, my ideal situation would be something like if you play a back 5 possibly, and then have Coleman right centre back and then Doherty on the right back. Like, I mean, because they are probably our 2 best players in terms of quality. Like I'm not even though Doherty hasn't been that good this season.
Look like clubs they're playing for as well. Like kind of
exactly. Like they're at a higher level really than anyone else that we have on a team. Like so. I don't know. I do think though, like fair play to Coleman, like he should have scored a goal on the weekend as well. Had a really good chance. But yeah, you'd like to see that playing really well, especially after having not the best few games the last few weeks. Played really well on the weekend. So,
Jack and Saka.
Yeah, totally agree. It'd be really nice to see us play with like 3 centre backs. Next month, I watched a bit of the Merseyside derby, and I kind of totally forgotten how good Coleman was going forward, like because generally you think of him as like such a like rock at the back, but he broke forward a few times, took players on, and he scored that goal. It was against Gibraltar or Georgia, where he literally ran down the sideline, like got to the corner flag and like ran on the line and like poked it in. I don't know if you remember it. But yeah, I suppose you go back to Harahan. If we're going to use him in his ideal position, play much further up the pitch, the 2 6s sitting behind him would be really important. As you said, whether you put McCarthy there, Knight, Malumbi, I was kind of thinking about Chelsea as well. The last few weeks, like Tuchel's been playing like 2 6s, and 3 strikers, and kind of like if it's Tammy or Werner, like they'd drop back a lot. But the 2 6s is the most important thing to provide the cover when the wing backs like fly forward. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does next month, whether it's 3 centre backs or 4.
Yeah,
or 4 at the back.
You just feel like you can't risk a formation change when you've worked so hard on one formation for your biggest game coming back. Then you're not going to change it. He's not going to change it to a back 5. Like, he's just not.
Well, like I suppose you say after all that work, but like all that work was like 1 goal in 8 games.
I know,
zero wins.
In terms of like what was the point in going through like all the rough times of trying to integrate that style of play with that formation to just then throw it all in the bin and start afresh? Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. He's gonna stick it out, I think, and hope that with a full, because he hasn't had a full strength squad in fairness, so he's gonna hope that he's gonna implement this style of play. Good shout here from Daniel Deneen. Actually, Josh Cullen, playing with Anderlecht in Belgium, was playing really well recently, apparently. So haven't seen any of them myself, but I've heard good things. So
he seems to be getting a game every week. I was actually just looking at it there. Like, he's playing 90 minutes and at least 60 most weeks. Like, so, I mean, if he's in good form, I can't say I watched the Belgian league, like, and I don't know enough about him. But like Anderlecht would be just one of the stronger sides anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, he plays in a deeper role as well. He's not really as advanced.
In midfielder kind of thing, isn't he?
Yeah. So I mean, I think even though Belgium, it's kind of it's hard to judge, really, isn't it? Like, he's playing for Anderlecht as well, who are like probably the most dominant team in Belgium by a good bit, I'd say. Like, so it's hard to judge, really. But yeah, I don't know. So maybe just throw him in, see how he does. Like,
definitely in the squad anyway, I reckon.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, definitely get in the team. Yeah. But you can't see him resting Hendrick, like, if he's playing from the other. I don't want him to play, but like, I hate to see him on the pitch, but you just say he's going to play. Like,
I think it's going to say a lot about Kenny if he goes with like a Hendrick in the 10 again and plays more and deep and stuff. Like,
I mean, you don't get rewarded for playing bad or playing good. Like, you get rewarded for playing badly. Like, I mean, it's going to be Hendrick, Brady, and Harron will all play if they're all fit.
Yeah, hopefully McCarthy's fit actually as well.
Yeah, I mean, that guy. I mean, I like James McCarthy. He's a great player. He's on the bench, but I could easily see him just not showing up or something. Like, he's done it a couple of times, so he's had issues and stuff like that, and you have to question whether he wants to be there half the time. Like, but a huge plus.
Just moving on to like our kind of obviously heavily documented striker problems. Scott Hogan scored a 6th goal of the season for Birmingham there at the weekend. James Collins obviously has 10 goals for Luton this season. I think it's 10, maybe it's more. Do either of them get in the squad in March? Probably at least one, you'd think.
Yeah, I imagine Collins has the experience and stuff. I'd say he will be called up, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of dire straits, really. Like, you're looking at the quality that they have up top, like with like Sijovic and all them, like, so I mean, sure, it's poor, but they probably will make it into the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, who do you pick, really? Like, and it's like, we don't have many good options. I do think James Collins, he's an okay player for the level he's playing at, but I just think, like, even when he came on the last few games, like, he just like, he's just not cut out for, he's not going to lead the line for us, like, no. That's why even, like, clutching at straws with Dizzy coming back, but like, and he's not even, like, listen, he's not a great player by any sense, but like, Jesus, compared to what we have at the moment, like, I mean, he do wonders for us. Like, Scott Hogan, it was 6 goals he scored this season, I think, for Birmingham. So like, it's underwhelming.
It's inspiring,
you know what I mean? It's underwhelming.
But I mean, you look at that and you look at Ida. Like, Ida gets half an hour every week. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why is he going to get called up?
Is he back for injury yet? Is he?
I think he came on
just
last
week.
I think he did. Yeah. But like, what has he done to earn a call up over Hogan? Like, he can't start sticking with players that he had at 21 level and stuff. He has a life to, like, or whatever. So.
The same as I said before. Like, you can't really argue if he picks players on form because it's a concrete reason for picking them. But like as you said, if he goes for like Ida over Collins or Hogan, or like plays Hendrick over Harahan, like I think there'll be questions raised then if it doesn't work out. I always like to see players picked on form and not if they just sat on the bench the last 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Huge plus to see Shane Long scored the weekend for Bournemouth. Possibly he's the answer up top. Probably the one I'd go for, in fairness.
Yeah. Did you see the goal he scored?
I know, but if
I
take
was
it, like,
half the yard out, like
anything I can get, like take absolutely anything you can get, like.
Yeah, he's just getting older now, man. Jesus,
34, yeah.
He's 34. Like, when did that happen? Like,
I know, it's actually nuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then I feel like he has been around for ages as well, hasn't it?
He has, yeah. He has been playing for a lot of years, but it still is mad that he's 34. Like, he's kind of the twilight of his career now. It'd be good though if he gets a few more goals for Bournemouth. Like, you'd love to see that. Like, and especially because he's an experienced international. Like, I'd prefer to have him. Like, even though listen, 100%. He hasn't the last few years he hasn't done a whole lot, but like, you'd prefer to have him over like Scott Hogan or James Collins and the likes. He's just like an experienced international. All right, see you later, Ty. Pulling the mark.
Brighton must have scored.
Shane Long, as you're saying, Griff, the experience could be crucial. Even you just think of big moments like the Germany game and stuff. Like Shane Long has it in his locker, and he's not the most polished striker, like in terms of finishing and stuff, but he puts himself about. He'll hold the ball up and stuff like that. Especially if you don't have Didsy, I think it'd be very important.
Yeah.
And you're saying there about experience. Kieran Westwood, 36-year-old goalkeeper.
Oh my God!
After breaking back into the Sheffield Wednesday side, does he get into the side for you, into the squad even?
No, I doubt it. Like, I mean, you've got Randolph, Travers, Kelleher. Like, I'm trying to think. Is it like definitely missing?
He'll leave one for the 21s. That like.
Well, Bazuna's a 21s keeper, isn't he?
Is he? Yeah.
And then they have McGinty off Sligo as well. But
I don't know, man. I've seen he's gotten back into the squad because the keeper is Sheffield
injured, isn't it?
Yeah, he's injured, isn't he? Like, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The only thing you'd say in favour of it is Randolph, Kelleher are the obvious like top two. Bringing in the third choice keeper is always just kind of like for the sheet. Like, it's just not really going to be involved. Having like an experienced head, even in the dressing room, and I don't know what he's like. I presume he's a good character. That could be like something just to think about. I don't know. I think it raises a discussion, and especially with the losses of like Damien Duff from this coaching squad, and the goalkeeper coach left as well. Obviously, they got a new one in, but I just think having a bit of experience might not be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah,
it'd be really interesting to see what he does. Like on the one hand, he went with Randolph for all the games last year, even though he wasn't really getting his game at West Ham. And in my mind, he didn't really put a foot wrong. I think he'd won iffy. Did he make a mistake last year?
Do you remember the Cruyff turn?
The Cruyff turn.
Yeah, I remember that.
Quality.
So dodgy, like.
But yeah, I think apart from the odd scare, or one or two scares, I think one of them was like in the 119th minute against Slovakia, like in the 6-yard box. But then on the other hand, like he may choose to give Kelleher a game. But yeah, I think he'll definitely go Randolph.
For sure, I think he has to.
Just as a hopping quick, did we discuss in the last week Randolph responding to people texting him and all? Like,
no, I don't think we did actually. We
I think that might have been us. Like Tuesday.
It was. I think it was only a few nights ago. But oh my God, like it was about like 12:30 at night or something. I was about to go to sleep. I checked my story and it was just Randolph being like some guy was like, "Oh, you're shit in FIFA and you're bald. Like you look like a circumcised willy." And he put it up on his story and he was like, "Oh, but like."
He said it's weird for you to think about
I'm with your mum and sister and all. Like.
He's like, it's weird for you to be thinking about Willies and thinking about me, mate, or something like that.
Like, so funny. And then he put up another one. He was like, I'm still texting your mum and sister live from my hut. No, love from my hot tub. Darren, like,
oh my God.
I was like, this guy's definitely had a few, like, because there was on the morning, he's definitely had a few, like, just texting, replying to people. It's so funny though.
Yeah, he's been a bit strange on social media recently. I think he had a few other bits and pieces up that were a bit odd as well.
He's always put up like some of them are funny and some of them are a bit strange, like funny memes and stuff, like or like TikToks on his stories.
Got to the stage of his career, he just doesn't give a fuck anymore.
He put up a gas post the West Ham celebration. Maybe you can see that.
So funny.
So funny.
At least he's a bit of crack. Like I like him.
Yeah, he'd be good in the loser. Like, you could say that for the whole Ireland squad.
We might be terrible. Jeez, we're a bit of crack.
But yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one because I'm not sure how you lads are gonna think of this, but Aidan McGeady has been in fine form recently. It feels like we're going on a trip down memory lane here.
This is like 2015 again, for fuck's sake. Like,
last week he got 4 assists in the one game. He got an assist there at the weekend, so 5 assists in his last 2. 30, I think he's 33, 34 as well. Does he like? He's in good form.
There's not a hope he's going to play. Like, there's very slim chance.
Not play, but just the squad.
Basically, no. Like, if he's not going to play, what's the point of bringing him up? Rather bring someone young up.
This is where I disagree with you. Right? So if he's not going to start,
experience in the dressing
room. No. I think off the bench, he could have more of an impact than the likes of, say, Michael Duffy, Daryl Horgan, Ronan Curtis, Callum O'Dowda. Aidan McGeady
probably
has that bit of magic in him. Like, no matter what age he is, he has that quality. I'm convinced of it. Like, because even the Georgia game, remember that away game? You won't forget about that. Like, I think he's more talented than a lot of the likes of Ronan Curtis. Just naturally, like,
he could definitely be like a player like.
I'm not saying he should start,
especially the last 20 or something like that when they're a bit more tired and stuff like that.
But I think I'll put him in if he's in good form. I think I'll put him in the squad personally. He's not like as a short-term solution just because we're so bad in the final third. Like last year was terrible. Like we need to.
His final product was never good. Like for us, I mean, he could beat a player and stuff like that and do a fancy spin or something. But like, the many times I watched him put in some of the worst crosses ever. Like,
But then he's so jinky. Like he could win you a free kick late on. He could a bit of fresh legs. Like he could win you a penalty. Like anything.
Fresh legs, and when the guy's 34 though, like
just on that, I think they're playing Doncaster, and McGeady put in 4 crosses, and I can't remember the player, but the Sunderland player scored 4 goals. You'd think like after the first one, we keep an eye on that now, or after the second goal. We keep an eye on McGeady putting the ball in after fucking 4 assists with the same man.
If you never watched James McLean play, you might think he's actually good. He just does the same thing every time. Like if he didn't cop onto it, like
Aidan McGeady is probably more gifted than James McLean. Like
one trick pony.
Yeah, he's more skillful. I'd say
more skillful. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not convinced. To be honest with you.
The bloke is only famous because of a FIFA skill move. The ship is sailed from McGeady. That goal against Georgia was banging.
Remember there was one FIFA he was 4-star skills and you had to be 5-star skills to do the McGeady spin. So funny. Cheers, Brian. I'm a bit behind on the stream, but cheers for that.
Palace Go, was it?
I'm watching it on Sky Go, so I just haven't seen it yet. But actually, you ruined it for me, Brian. I'm going off it.
Are they on the attack?
You'd rather that though.
Pretty sure
more like good luck, Brian. Like, I think for me, if he's in good form, McGeady gets in the squad. Personally, I'll put him in.
Yeah,
why not? At this stage, throw him in.
JP.
Jesus Christ.
JP.
What do you think, Saka? What do you think, Saka?
Oh, fucking between him.
Mattel, I was gonna put him on to score as well.
And talk us through
it. The new fella. Oh man, it was like the Ronaldo goal against it was in the World Cup or something where he does like the back heel like as the ball's behind him. I don't know, it's hard to explain. He's coming across the box, he does like a back heel through your man's legs, through the keeper's legs or something.
Mateta, was it?
Yeah, Mateta, yeah. Fresh. Hakuna Mateta, like.
Nice.
FIFA 12, I think that was when he was only 4-star skills. KSI made a video about it.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's so funny.
Like the keeper.
But definitely I want to keep an eye on him and Didzy. Like, what are we 4 weeks away from we're probably less than 4 weeks with the squad being announced. And we were saying earlier, like Kenny usually announces a 23-man squad. Whereas in the past, Mick or Martin would announce like a 27 or even a 30 and then cut it down. So that 23-man squad would be pretty much nailed on. So definitely
remember,
go on.
Sorry, I was saying, do you remember Mick called up, I think it was Padraig Amond, because he like had a bit of a run in the FA Cup at Newport County, and it's part of like a 32-man squad or something. It's like, oh, so proud to get the Ireland called up, and it was like a week later he's gone. Like,
I wonder if you're allowed to keep like the training gear you get in the bag.
I'd say so. Yeah,
Fairly
stingy. Fairly stingy.
Give that back.
That's what they did with the women back in the day.
Yeah.
I'd say back in the day, like 5 years ago.
Back in the day.
I think if you mentioned McGeady, it shows how bad we are. But realistically, we are bad, though. That's the thing. Like we can't pretend we're not. Like we are really, really bad.
Maradona back from the grave there.
Let's not sugarcoat it. Sugarcoat it. I read in the comments.
Touched on a bad one. John Egan's injury, out for 8 weeks, which will rule him out of the Serbia game, lads. Massive blow. Who comes in?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be Clark and Duffy for me. Like, I don't think he's gonna drop Duffy. Like, I just can't see him doing it.
The options are O'Shea, Duffy, Clark. I throw Lenihan in there because he's been good at Blackburn. Coleman, maybe, yeah.
O'Shea.
I think Lenihan gets overlooked a little bit for Ireland because he is actually a good player. He's Blackburn's vice captain, having a decent season in the Championship. So I think Lenihan gets overlooked a little bit, but I don't think he will start. I think you have to go. I think that does Duffy get in? Like, he's been so bad this season.
I don't think he'll bench him, like, unless he's injured or something. Like.
Yeah, he won't.
Just
because he's been.
You can't change both your centre backs either. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd be changing 3 of our defenders. Like, 3 defenders he hasn't really used before. Like Kieran Clark, I don't think he's played for Kenny.
No,
Kieran Clark has.
No, that's strange, isn't it? When you think about it, like he kind of. I don't think he's getting. Was he injured or something?
He wasn't playing. He wasn't playing for Newcastle. He might have had an injury, but like he wasn't playing. But now he's playing almost every week, and looks all right. Like, you know.
He does.
He can shift into left back. He's a bit slow, like. But
does Kevin Long?
Kevin Long is probably in the question, in with a shout, maybe, but
in his squad, but I don't think he plays much anyway.
I think he's stealing a living being in a Premier League team. Like, he's probably not a Premier League player. He's solid for Sean Dyche. Like, Rob Cornwall is an absolute tank. Ronaldo would see himself.
I mean, as ambitious as that is, I don't see Rob Cornwall getting into the Ireland squad anytime soon.
That's why it'd be so. You're saying like kind of the left-footed centre half would be perfect for like the 3 at the back as well.
Exactly.
So annoying.
I still find that frustrating, but I just can't see him doing it now. Like, if he hasn't done it,
I wouldn't even blame him for not doing it now because they've stuck it out.
Yeah,
stick it out. Moving away from Ireland for a bit, lads. Not just the Irish national team, to the LOI. Treaty United were the only team granted a license for the First Division. It was a bit messy there because Rovers B announced that they got a license earlier on in the day and eventually didn't get into the league in the end. Dublin County today, I think it was today, they released some statements on Twitter. They had problems with Morton Stadium, they've had problems with Morton Stadium, but they thanked the FAI and the LOI for their help and their cooperation. It wasn't down to them apparently. Sport Ireland facilities apparently fecked them over according to them. So that's what they put it down to. That's
the Abbottstown place.
Yeah,
the sports campus in Abbottstown.
Yeah. So I think it's probably the right decision. Now the three, if you had to pick one, you'd go with the team that from Limerick that were kind of like in the league beforehand and has a bit of that history and has that fan base kind of there ready to go. So I think it's probably the right decision.
Yeah, I don't think there was a whole lot of people that wanted to see the other two get in there, like, unless it was going to be all 3 of them, like, you know. Yeah. Like, you truly definitely the one you wanted to see.
I think a Rovers B team is just so shit as well.
Yeah, it's tired. They're like, they'll be really sad, I think, to have them back in again. Like,
yeah, I wonder if they got Dublin County. If Dublin County got a license and got in, would the FAI said, sure, we might as well do a 12-team league then and ask Rovers B in? Because
I'd say that's probably what it was. I'd say that's what it came down to. Yeah.
So it's mad that depends on Dublin County, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. Rovers tweeting that they had a license, and then 3 hours later, like it was like, no, you don't. Like, it just says it though. It just like shows like just so like little organization like within the league, within the FAI half the time. Like it's so typical. Like
Dan McDonald did point out, I think Friday night, a 12-team league was kind of rumored a lot, and that morning, like questions started beginning to be asked. But Dan McDonald said getting a license doesn't guarantee you to play in the league. You have to get the license and then get an invitation to play in the league. But 99% of the time, getting a license means you're in the league. But yeah, Rovers put up a tweet that afternoon saying thank you for the FAI for your support. Like, we got a license for Rovers B team, and then they weren't in the division when it was announced by the FAI. So yeah, it was pretty funny. But like I said, the only thing I can think of is that it was the Dublin County thing held it back. Because, and they still haven't deleted the tweet too, which is pretty funny. But yeah, I think out of the three,
they actually get a license to be in the league. It's just the fact that they didn't get an invitation, as you said. Like, the license was there. Like,
yeah, of course they have like all the funding and the facilities. So I suppose the license was never out of the question.
Yeah, for Rovers B team, I think the license wasn't a problem. I don't think ever. Like, just for the
yeah, out of the three, and I think Dan as well reported that the other first division teams didn't want a Rovers B team in it. They thought the Rovers B team was just going to be for last season, just a 1 year thing, because I think it was Limerick like folded, so there was an opportunity to Rovers B team to go in. But yeah, out of the three, football's going back to Limerick. A lot of football people in Limerick would chuff with that. Obviously with Mark on last week, like half the time before he got disconnected. And yeah, great news for Limerick.
For sure. Yeah, as you were saying, they were confident of getting it last week, wasn't he? He knew people down there, and they were confident of getting that license. So
yeah, they announced their manager and players, and 99% were going to get it.
Because that's the thing, like they're never going to struggle to get players, because there's so many players that are amateur level, but like probably good enough to play in the first division that want to play football. Like even if they don't want to play, sometimes you don't want to play at that level, but people just want desperate to play football, so they will sign up to play in the League of Ireland just so they can get their gaff. But yeah, Lenny, you can just unsubscribe if you don't mind. You can just unsubscribe whenever you want.
Dead right. Dead right.
Loves you right off.
I know, yeah. Pre-season kicked off. Actually, doesn't help me talk about pre-season now with the result that happened at the weekend, to be honest. But pre-season kicked off over the weekend. First game we'll look at is Cork City 1, St. Pat's 2. Ronan Coughlin got off the mark for Pats, which was good. Ronan Murray was on trial for Pats as well. He scored as well. Griff, if you remember correctly, our first year doing LOI TV, you picked Ronan Murray to win the Player of the Year.
Yeah, jeez, what can I say? Like, I just predict these things. Like, honestly,
so I just saw that. I was like,
what a pick that was! Like, honestly, oh my god, a few shockers, like absolutely talking out my hole. Like,
never saw him play before.
I hadn't even heard of the guy until about to set up the camera, and I was like, "Who do you think?" Oh yeah, Ron Murray, Ron. Yeah, that's what I'm blaming it on.
Funny one.
Like we used to interview the odd fan, and they just say like a totally random name, and you'd be like, "Oh yeah, decent player."
Top player.
Cork's UCD beat Longford 2-1. Interesting one from Longford. Actually, they produced a professional stream of the game on it. Like, I think it was a zero, like very minimal budget, which just shows you what clubs can do. If what the Watch LOI situation is so unclear leading into the season. But they fair play to them, they went to the bowl, and the bowl has decent facilities for that, I think, as well. But they were able to do that. And their marketing and media manager, Jay Donnelly, actually criticised other clubs in the LOI who weren't even updating their supporters in the games via social media about like the friendly games and stuff. He said, quote, "There's no excuse for clubs that don't even update their supporters via social media. Market everything, advertise everything." Do you think he's right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I mean, there's plenty of teams that barely even have an Instagram page and stuff like that. Like, it's not a difficult thing to do, you wouldn't think. Like, Like even a fan could do it. Like remember we met a fan somewhere. I can't remember what club it was at. They were saying they were setting one up themselves, like just for the club, like a proper one, like, and they were going to try and run the clubs one. Like it's pretty bad that you can't keep up to date on social media. It doesn't seem like a difficult thing to do.
No, if you put the time in it, like it's definitely not that hard. It'd be pretty sustainable. It's just kind of, I think, like a lot of the people in charge of clubs are probably just like elder lads. To be honest with you, probably been out of touch, like for a lot of the clubs. So maybe that's a factor. Hopefully, we just get some, younger people involved and stuff. And I think if one club starts doing it, I think, be fair, some of the big teams like Bows are pretty big on social media. Like even seeing like the stuff they put up earlier, Gary Lineker retweeted it, like. Stuff like that. Like if you just put more content out, get more views, you'll get more fans. At the end of the day, that's how simple it is. Like so.
For sure.
Yeah, let's see it.
100%. Yeah, totally agree. Like free advertising, and it's not that hard at all. As Ty said, there's a lot of clubs that like barely post on Instagram or anything like that. So yeah, it's a real missed opportunity if you're not using all these channels as much as you can. So
even like Lenny's saying there, like just posting the team sheet before the game, halftime score, or a thing with a story when a goal goes in or something like that. Like it's not difficult to do. Like
like fans aren't expecting
the excitement around the start of the season,
especially the games. You can't even see the games. Like, do you know what I mean? So you're looking at like the live score and stuff, and they're gonna be slow down Irish games. Like
I'm in some Shales fans group thing on Facebook, and they were asking about like why there was no updates or anything like that, and they were saying there no stream of the game or whatever, and they were saying that they played the game in where's that? What's the name of that place over in the Shelburne like youth facilities? What's it called again? AUL, isn't it?
AUL, yeah.
And apparently, like the Wi-Fi connection is none there. You can't even get like a signal on your phone. So apparently, that's why the Shells Bows game was like didn't have much, didn't have a stream or anything. But even still, like just ways around it. I think Shells did some sort of highlights thing or something. But yeah. But yeah, I think he is spot on. I think he's one of the younger kind of like media people involved in the league, so he kind of is in touch with what needs to be done to kind of grow the league. There's a fella called Paul something design on Twitter. His name just escapes me for the time being, but he does something to do with like graphics and stuff for Galway, and he did the graphics for their friendly game as well, which is actually a 1-0 win over Finn Harps, which is a great result. But I think
was he the guy that did the league restart video?
Yeah, he does some loads of cool stuff. Yeah, he's he's working with Galway, I think now, which is his local club. So, I think the league just needs to look into ways of exposing it to a new audience. Like Socko, we won't name the club, but we got onto a club about interviewing their manager, and they got back to us saying this manager did 1 hour of media work a few weeks ago. He won't be doing anything till the start of the season. It's like, what do you mean? Like, why does
real rude as well?
Like, yeah, it's just like, because we've had dealings with that certain person in the past as well, and it's like 1-word answers, 1-word replies. Just like it's just they don't give you the time of day for people trying to grow the league. It's just frustrating. That top team of the country.
Name the club.
Yeah,
name and shame.
Like I don't know, like even 5 or 10 minutes would have been great. But just to have minimal engagement with them is just really disappointing. And like we're doing our best, and if we do a 5 or 10 minute video, that'll, like, even if that gets 1,000 views, that's X amount of people that might not have heard about the league before, or like every little bit helps. And the league needs as much like advertising as possible, especially with no games on at the moment. So like 5 or 10 minutes with that particular manager would have been great, and hopefully like before the season starts, or like the first few weeks, we might be able to get him on. But like the lack of engagement with like a few different people is just a bit disappointing.
Yeah, for sure, because we started to get interviews with players, starting to get them done. We've filmed with Dinny Corcoran, that'll be coming out this week. A few other player interviews lined up, looking to maybe do some stuff with managers from a couple of clubs have got back to us in regards to that. So we're excited to bring that content to you guys, because we want to just try and grow the league and let these players kind of, because one thing I heard actually is kind of off topic a little bit, but filmed the podcast, mentioned this a week or two back with the Green Machine podcast, I'll give a shout out, and they're talking about kind of how, I think I've mentioned how Jack Byrne is like kind of the first player that's kind of grown this persona where it's nearly bigger than the league. Like it's kind of generally like all the leagues, all the teams, like players are nearly bigger than the teams in terms of like following on Instagram and stuff. Like the League of Ireland could do with players kind of portraying their personality outside of the game a bit more, and fans kind of connecting with that. If you get me, like Jack Byrne kind of was the first one to kind of be more mainstream nearly. I think it's just getting players to kind of come out of their shell a bit and just kind of get that more of a connection with fans. I think it will be really good for the league. I think personally.
Maybe it's
to be fair, Danny Mandrew's girlfriend's pretty big, so like, gotta say that. Like.
That's the thing. But he's a player. I think I was looking there recently. I think he has 10,000 followers on Instagram. Like he's maybe a player that's
definitely just his bird. Like sure,
absolutely. But I'm saying like that's just another example of a player that's kind of grown their
posh
outside
of
the game,
LOI.
like, kind of thing. Like, what?
The posh and Becks of the LOI.
Posh and Becks, oh my god. Molly and Tommy. No, but
the only thing I can think of is like if players are part-time, they might be less inclined to do stuff like that because they've like their own full-time job to worry about.
Yeah.
But like, would it be fair to say that like at least half of Premier Division players are full-time? Would that be fair to say?
I'd say
if not more. So like for them players like it'd be nice if they did. Like we see all the time in other leagues, like they do like fan engagement or like little like promotional videos or not even giveaways, but like there's just a lot more engagement with the fans, taking questions, putting up stories. It doesn't take a lot of time and it increases the profile of the player and the club and the league. So there's a lot of people sleeping on social media at the moment. Like it's free advertising, like
literally, like it's so cheap. Like you're literally just putting up a post, and like it was take 10-15 minutes to come on our channel, do an interview, and just have a chat like for a bit. Like just I don't understand why they'd be against it. Need to get Ollie Horgan on and interview him. He's such a great character in person. Would love to get Ollie Horgan on. That'd be absolute pleasure. Big fan of Ollie Horgan, what he's done with Finn Harps over the years. But yeah, I just think it's such a shame that I don't know. This is the way they replied to us and said they did an hour of answering questions a few weeks ago, and they won't do anything till the start of the season. It's just like ridiculous. So how are you going to build excitement for it? Like I don't know.
Yeah, and like we've been very lucky. Like in the past few weeks, a lot of clubs, I have to say, have got back to us and said when the games are back, we'll try our best to fit you in, even though we don't have the FLI pass at the moment. We're still waiting to hear back off that, but. It seems
bring Joe Delaney back and I get it in a sec.
It just seems
you know what you're getting with John Delaney. You know what you're getting.
So he never did any wrong to me. But like it just seems like there is one or two clubs that it's a little bit of a closed shop, like which is just a bit disappointing. But I have to say there is a lot of clubs that do really give you the time of day and do their best and think the same as us, sing off the same sheet. Like we're all about trying to increase the profile of the league.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I wanted to just have a chat about Jay Donnelly in terms of saying that about the preseason and how just like it just seemed like teams just aren't even like clubs aren't even bothering to promote it. Where it's the start of the season, like it's a huge opportunity to get like season tickets and stuff bought and stuff like that. So
sorry to cut in again, especially when there's no Watch LOI news or what was the figure, like RT are only showing 1/3 of games next year. I think there was over 100 games not being shown at the moment unless there's a Watch LOI. And then a lot of clubs might do, like if you buy a season ticket, you'll get your streams for free or even do the streams for $5. And like League of Ireland fans aren't expecting. I said in one of the pieces like fucking an Irish Jamie Carragher or Neville like post match or big fucking 3D screens. Just decent quality stream with a commentator or two. Like it's not hard.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Like someone was saying there, like if there's midweek games and stuff like that, like sometimes you don't get like the Soccer Republic highlights are from like 2 weeks worth of highlights and stuff like that. Like if you wait 2 weeks just to see the goals or like it's just ridiculous. Like the coverage is just terrible. Like
so bad, isn't it? Yeah. And the fact that it's so easily could be better, like so easily could be better.
Definitely, like it's not that we said it loads of times, but it's not that much to invest in a decent camera, like someone who can just hold it, like straight. You know, like it's not that hard. Like
as you said before, we could do it. Like we could film it and commentate or something like for.
Give us a few $100, and
for the right quid, yeah, for the right quid, we do it now about it. Shamrock Rovers actually played 2 games over the weekend. They played against Bray and drew 3-3, and they played against Athlone and won 2-0.
I like the way you put Sham Rovers there.
Sham Rovers, yeah. That's an inkling. In the game against Bray, Rory Gaffney scored twice, Sean Hoare scored once, and in the Athlone game, youngster Max Murphy, he probably would have had a big part to play in the B team, scored, and Danny Mandrew also scored in his first game for Shamrock Rovers as well. So positive signs, I suppose, for Rovers, but the fact they can field 2 teams, 2 squads, like shows you how much strength they have in depth, really.
Yeah, no, they'll have a good team this season. I think Bray will Bray in the first division as well will be a pretty decent side, you think, in that league.
Yeah, absolutely.
Giving a shout out to Darren Craven as well, who got signed for them today from Malahide United, local lad. But yeah, I mean, can't really use kind of standard preseason results. They don't really tell you much, do they? Like so.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, preseason you can't really look into the results too much. And speaking of, you don't really look into the results too much. Bows beat Shells 2-0, but you don't really look at the results.
Huge goal, man. I think that's the killing of Bows season, to be honest with you.
Liam Burt and Thomas Alua about making their debuts got off the mark for Bows. Liam Burt took his goal really, really well as well. Looks a good player. I think Dawson Devoy got the assist for that. Nice ball through, but it was a good performance for Shells for the most part. 2 different 11s for each half, so some positives in terms of the new signings and stuff, and it's kind of individual errors led to the goals, and they missed a few chances as well. So it's kind of, I'd say Shells, I think they're heavy favourites to win the first division, so you'd expect them to do well next season. And as for Bows, it's a good start. And what are Bows' ambitions? I suppose is stay in the top 3.
Yeah, you'd imagine so.
I mean, after losing that, like some of their most potent players up top and stuff like that, you kind of don't see them pushing on much more than that. But definitely staying in the top 3 with I know your man Liam Bird, like it looks like it could be a really good sign, could load up the league this season. You know?
For sure. Next game was Drogheda, who beat Wexford 1-0. Decent one out for both sides, really. Not much more to say about it. Actually, the main talking point from this was Jimmy Corcoran signed for Wexford. It was actually highly suspected that he was to give up football to pursue GAA with Meath. Obviously, well known for the Ireland under 17s.
Yeah,
when he came off the line.
Yeah. So yeah, he signed for Wexford, which is an interesting one. Hopefully he does well there, because I think I was put into the group actually that he had given up football, so it was good to see him. Wexford again.
It would have been disappointing as well if you seen him going to, because obviously I think he was being chased by Meath for quite a while. But it would be disappointing. Like, he's still really young, like, and then to go to Gard, like, I mean, especially, like, no offense to anyone from Meath, but they're not winning anything anytime soon. Like, do you know?
No, exactly.
So I think maybe this is just why not try like, you know, first division, maybe even if he does well this year, potentially going up to Premier Division next season. Like, he's clearly a quality young keeper. Like, he's played for the Ireland underage setups. Like, so why not give it a few more years, give it a shot? Like,
he was on the bench. He was on the bench for Dundalk against Arsenal, and I think he was at Preston before that. So like, he's been playing at a really good level like for years, and he's still only 19.
Yeah, he's only a teenager. So
so looks a quality keeper. It'd be nice to see him get a run at like senior games this year.
Yeah, it was good to see. Dini Corkin made his debut for Drogheda. Me and Griff were chatting to him last week, so that video will be out. I'll give another plug. That video will be out on the channel this week, so subscribe to stay up to date with all the player interviews we're going to have coming over the next couple of weeks leading into the season. The last game we'll look at, Galway Finn Harps, as I kind of mentioned it briefly before, but good signs from John Caulfield's side as they prepare for a promotion push this season. They're actually second favourites to go up behind Shells, so you'd expect them. It's a good sign of a good win, beating a team like Finn Harps. They clearly have quality, and John Caulfield is the top. I think he's a Premier Division manager, like a top level. The things he did with Cork for those few seasons were phenomenal. So I think Galway will definitely be in the mix. And the first game of the season is actually Galway against Shells, which will be a cracker. So looking forward to that. But move on to horrible news, because it feels like it's becoming a weekly segment of the show. But an online abuse received by another Irish player, Shane Duffy, his latest victim. He shared vile messages that were sent to him on his Instagram story from a young man on Instagram, obviously, which included mocking Duffy about the passing of his father, which is just so sick. And the worst part about it was the fella that sent him the message put on his own Instagram story, quote, "Just to say everything I said to him," which was Duffy obviously, "was to see if he would actually reply. I was only going to see if I could get a reaction from Shane Duffy himself. It didn't work, but I shouldn't have brought that up." And for me, that just tells you everything you need to know about the type of person, people that send these kind of messages. They're just so sad, lonely, fucking pricks.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to add as well. I think the young fella played for Crusaders up north. I think he was in their youth setup. So there's a load of stuff like James McLean put it up, and he was like tagging Crusaders and the NIFL, and he was like, "What are you going to do about this?" Like, so I mean, honestly, like, even though he's only a young fella, like, he has to, like, if he's not kicked off Crusaders, like, I mean, what precedent does that? What precedent does that show? Like, you can't be saying that. And people, I think, just sitting behind the screen, people think there's no consequences to their actions. Like, so I think it was extremely disappointing that the young fella from Kerry didn't get anything in court, because the judge took it as, because Ian Wright accepted his apology, he was like, "Oh, therefore, like, it's all good." Like the way that this kind of stuff stops is you set a precedent, and you set an example, really. Like, so more of that needs to be happening, and I think it's good that Shane Duffy and also like other players like that are putting it up. And it's only happened the last few weeks. Like, this stuff happens on the regular, I'd say. Like,
and that's exactly what I was saying. Like, this has been going on for years. It's just people are finally starting to post it, when it's with black players or with Irish players and stuff like that. And I mean, I remember the judge. The quote I saw was the judge said for the kid with the who was it again? Sorry, that
Ian Wright.
Yeah. The judge said he didn't see anything to gain from like charging him. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, it's setting a message like that. There's no gain from charging people for committing crimes. Like, it's like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah. Because I remember, I think when he sent in the screenshot of the fella in court, everyone was like, I was expecting to be like 12.
Yeah, I thought he was like 13, 14. 18, he played a game of FIFA. He said something stupid, like, but he's 18.
He's not a kid. Like, he wasn't a kid.
I couldn't believe it.
No matter what.
I couldn't believe it when I saw that line. The judge thought there'd be nothing to be gained, and then at the end it was like he donated €500 to an anti-racism charity. It feels like we have this chat every week, and we do, and it's important to. But the only word I can think of is just so grim, and like, I don't know what the answer is. There's a lot of different views, but it's just so grim. Like, that's all I can say, really. And I hope something's done about it. I hope your man's kicked off the Crusaders team, and there's proper consequences, because this will not stop until there's proper consequences. That meaning there's real life consequences. So, like, you get kicked off your sports team, you get a knock on the door from the police the next morning. There's financial impacts or like job impacts. Your heart just goes out to McLean and Duffy and people, anyone who kind of receives
ignorance and stupidity. Like, I mean, I don't know if it was last week or when it was, but I think it was on Off the Ball. James was talking about it. He was like, he was playing like, I mean, he was marking or standing on Darren Randolph, like he's playing for Stoke against Middlesbrough at the time, and they were shouting like horrible things at him, like feeling this and all that. Like the goalkeeper for the other team, for your team, is Irish. Like, it's just so brain dead. It's just stupid. It's the same with like with black players and stuff. Black players on both teams, and they're racially abusing them. Like,
100%. I never. 100%. Funny you say that. I'll never forget. I was, I think, 13 or 14. I went over to Chelsea United, and there's a Chelsea fella, a dad with his son sitting behind me, calling a nanny every name under the sun. And I remember sitting there thinking, like half of the Chelsea team are black. Like, it just makes no sense to me.
But your kid as well, like your kids.
Yeah, your kid. I'll never forget. Like, with a
son from
as well. Yeah. And I was just like, half the Chelsea team are black as well. Like, I couldn't get my head around. And yeah, me and Ross were Griff Tye, he might have been there too. A ground I think 2 years ago, and we had a similar situation. And yeah, shit like that just needs to stop. To be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's my point about like how the judge can say he doesn't see anything to be gained from it. Like how can you
So much to be gained.
how can you not see nothing to be gained from punishing someone for committing a crime? Like it's like saying any crime. Like he's already done it now. Like there's no point punishing him.
It's encouraging.
Everyone else just do the crime again. Like
yeah.
The message that gives out is just there's no
person who does it. Why should he be punished? And the first guy wasn't. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's not seems to be no repercussions for these acts. But what really kind of like hurt me was like Shane Duffy was like, I think he said something like, probably isn't the exact quote, but it was like, because he had a string of messages beforehand and he was like, all this abuse is like okay or something like that. But the last one really got to me or something like that. It's like, he's gotten used to like, all this abuse beforehand. Like, and he's gotten used to that. He wouldn't have shared it. Then the last comment
he literally was like, abuse is okay, but like, surely there's a line being crossed here. It's like, well, any of it is stupid. Like, I guess you could understand someone just saying like, oh, you played shit or something like that, especially opposition fans, stuff like that. It's stupid that people do it, but like,
it comes with the territory a little bit. Like,
yeah. And it's like I know we all have like a kind of, you know, a rib of players and stuff, and we criticize players or whatever. Like, but you know, when you go across like and you're messaging people to go out your way just to like make someone feel bad, really, like, what's the point? Like, what are you gaining from it? Like, you know, like you're just sitting there. Do you feel better about yourself? It's just so stupid. Like, and I think until there's more repercussions, then it's going to continue to happen, really.
Yeah, no, because there is a huge difference between, say, if we criticize an Irish player for playing badly, then going across and sending them personal messages of being like hateful messages. Like, you're allowed as football fans, and as it's not like football players can like accept. Like, it comes with the territory, as I said. Like, where if you criticize their performance, like you're allowed to do that when you're professional, and getting paid thousands of pounds a week to be criticized if you have an off game. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
You'd come back to it.
You'd be I don't know. Yeah, what were you saying, Soccer? Were you saying something?
I don't know. Sorry for interrupting. Going back to what Ty said, that Duffy has like a threshold. Is threshold the word? Like, he's received so much abuse now that some of it becomes like normal. And McLean said the same when off the ball. He said like, most of the stuff I get, it's water off a duck's back, and he's just immune to it now, which is like mad in itself.
Once his family gets called into it, he's like, my family shouldn't have to deal with that and stuff. It's like, you shouldn't have to deal with it either. Like, shouldn't be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just so grim.
So grim. But yeah, I think I asked a few people for questions on Instagram. If you're not following us on Instagram, make sure to go over and follow us. But just asking for a few questions. Just to finish this off, I suppose we're over the hour mark already, but we're over for time, are we? Ty Russell, can you do a live watch along for Palace versus Brighton? Yeah, perfect. Yeah. God, this name is difficult. Skikiko _ Kemway asks, where will Harps finish this season? No, not last. I think first.
I think they're probably finishing the bottom two, personally. But so? Yeah, probably. I think probably
certainly in that battle down there. You can see them in a maybe finishing bottom three.
I like to see them stay up though. Like, I don't want to see them like a yo-yo team. Like, it would be good if they actually like got a foothold in the Premier Division for a few years and actually established themselves. You know.
I think positive for them is that it's two new teams coming into the league from the league below. Is something that they can look at and say we can finish 8th here. Like, because they finished 8th last season, they can build on that. Maybe they've added a few players in. I think probably them, Drogheda, Waterford are going to be a bit hit and miss this season after all the mess they've had off the field. So I think it'll be those three. I think Longford, unfortunately, will probably be the weakest in the league by a good bit, to be honest.
You'd imagine so, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it'd be a fight between Finn Harps, Drogheda, maybe Waterford as well. I think the rest of the teams are probably safe enough.
Like the Pats slipping down there or anything like that, no?
I don't think so. I think most of the other teams are probably too strong. Like, a lot of teams have strengthened this season. Like Pats have brought in John Mountney from Dundalk and stuff like that. They've got Robbie Benson and stuff. Like, they'll just get them through the season, even if it's a 5th place finish or whatever. I don't think they'll be in trouble. Shane Duffy abuse and seems Instagram are taking no action is one of the questions we got. We kind of touched on that already. How competitive the first division will be. If we've kind of talked about how there's a good few sides on there. There's the Bray, Galway, Cork, Shells. It will be a good season. the licensing we got asked about. Betting tax that goes to Horse Racing Ireland and Greyhound Racing Ireland to go to the FAI. I don't know what that means. You know what that means, no?
No, sure. Are they saying it's like a good thing or a bad thing? Like it's in taxes going from gambling towards the FAI, or
I think I saw something in the paper like the FAI were trying to get funding, like I think borrow funding from like horse racing in Ireland, but like I think
Really?
I just read as far as that really.
Yeah. Second last question: Dundalk's transfer policy. What do you think of it? You've kind of touched on that in previous weeks as well about how they're kind of bringing in players from abroad. How do you think that's going to affect them? Like, is it going to be tough to kind of settle in?
Yeah, they clearly have the funds to like sustain it. They're bringing in like a few Americans and then lads from like Eastern Europe. So they'd have to be on like full time wages. Obviously, it's a full time club, but like with the American backers, Peak Six, they obviously have the funds to sustain it. It's just a matter of settling in the new players. Everyone has like 4 or 5 preseason games before the 26th now. So or sorry, the 19th. But yeah, we'll see how they settle in.
Yeah. I think it'll be hit and miss. But the positive is that they've retained a lot of the players, most of the players that they that won the cup last year, which is obviously big for them. I think just with foreign players, like sometimes you'll get like out of 5 of them, you might get 1 or 2 absolutely class players, and then like 1 or 2 just not up to the pace at all. It's just it's going to be hit and miss, I'd say, to be honest with you. So, it's going to be interesting, really. But I do think that the fact that they've retained most of their best players, will stand in good stead for them. Like,
they have that base likes of Chris Shields, Sloggett, Michael Duffy, Pat Hoban. Like they have those kind of players that will get them through, even if they're like they'll probably get top 3, and if it's a bad season. Final question is asking about what would be your Ireland team for the Serbia game. We'll probably do a separate video on that, I'd imagine. So stay tuned for that. We kind of touched on what we kind of think about with the defensive structure earlier on.
With the way it went last time, like we had players missing. Like if we do a prediction video in a week, we could have 6 of those players missing the week after. Like, with the way COVID is in this situation, at this situation. You could have, especially when the international traveling starts happening for the games and stuff like that. That's when the cases shot up last time. So for the players, so could be missing loads.
Because we might do like a squad prediction video next couple of weeks, and then do a team what team we'd pick after the squad comes out. Then, who's scouting these poor lads from the US and Latvia?
It's guys. You just see a name and then it's like they now. Usually when you see a League of Ireland sign and then you're like, oh yeah, I remember him from there or whatever. It's just see his name. Who the hell is that guy?
Fair audience with their half.
Presumably it must be good.
It must be good. He has a good few caps for Faroes, and their left back has a good few caps for Latvia. So you'd imagine they're all right. Junior heading to Dundalk too, which I saw, which is interesting. Will he start? I'm not too sure. But he was a top goal scorer in the league like 2 seasons ago, so decent player. The final question: thoughts on Bo's transfer window? Overall, it was tough. It's obviously always gonna be hard for him to recover from Danny Grant, Twardick, and Andre Wright. Even Dinny Corcoran's all leaving the club, so they've done okay to fill in those gaps. Maybe Liam Burt will be. It's kind of hard to know, but maybe he'll be a good sign. Alua, they brought in that young fella on loan from Peterborough, I think, up front.
Liam Rolls, is it? No, I don't know.
Like that, I think. Yeah, something like that. I think.
Bastian Harry
with the mustache.
Bastian Harry, I think. Which is Bastian Harry, a really good sign, I think.
Yeah, really good sign. So, even like Rory Feely back and stuff as well would be good, I'd say. But yeah, I think we've probably covered everything we had in mind today. That's absolute pleasure as always.
Thank you, Ross.
Pleasure.
Fair play. If you don't mind, guys, if you, please like the stream. Does anyone want to check? We always check before we finish. How many likes we're on? We want to hit 50. We've 19 people watching, so if you don't mind, we do really appreciate if you like the stream.
29.
29. That's all right. That's all right for now. If you don't mind, we get above 30. We get above 30.
Can we get 100? If we get 200, we'll do another meme reaction.
We'll do another 100 on the last meme reaction video.
we didn't didn't go down as well. Check out the meme video, guys. It's just the latest one we did. Class video.
We had fun making it. That's all that counts.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
We'll be doing more because they're fun to make.
Yeah.
We need to get some more people. So
and we will look to. I think we're looking to getting a Reddit page up and running for like you guys who have to send us your memes, and we can have a look at them and react to them that way. And if you want to send them memes to us, just send them on Instagram and Twitter, because we're probably doing a video. Maybe we'll do it this week actually.
Yeah, we got a few decent ones in the last few days. Already, but like I was going to say, where else are you going to see Greta Thunberg in a Cork jersey? Right here.
LOI TV, baby.
Cautiously optimistic every Monday. Your week starts right here. But yeah, really appreciate your support, guys. As I said, if we can hit 50 likes, we're working towards it, so appreciate that. And do subscribe as well on our road to 3K. We want to hit, I think, 5 before the end of the year. That's going to be our outside shout. So
okay.
Griff isn't cautiously optimistic.
He isn't cautiously optimistic.
All right.
Never know. I think we'll take off at some stage. Please, fingers crossed. But do appreciate all your support. Bush. Good luck to get him on actually the next live stream. We're going to be doing one with the first half of the league's fans. So from Bose and then the rest of them alphabetically, the first 5. So I think Ush is going to come on for Finn Harps. So appreciate that. Top man. And we look forward to doing that next week. And then the week after will be the second half of the league as well. So looking forward to the next few weeks. A lot coming up with the league in March and the Irish team in March as well. So we're going to have plenty of content coming out, and we do appreciate your support, as we said. So yeah, that's the end of the stream.
Cheers,
Well done, lads. Talk to you in a bit.